to the channel. This next video is a video on how I managed to do two 100-mile weeks back to back. So I'll take you through my Strava and show you how I structured my week, what sessions I did and who I trained with. Hope you can increase your mileage and become a better runner. Jakob Ingebrigtsen has been on a 100-mile a week since he was about 16. He's built that background up from doing skiing, and I'm sure they even used to rollerblade around the car park when they were younger, just to get that extra cross training in. But if you can't manage a 100-mile a week running, you can always add in biking, go to the gym, do the cross trainer, the elliptical. There's actually a bike you can get called the Elliptigo. One of my friends, Sam, he does that a lot. It's all about just increasing total volume and getting your heart rate working. Also try and run on the beach and soft surfaces. This can save your knees. Also, it's really important to wear cushioned shoes. Get a pair of Nike Invincibles or Hoka Clifton 8s, something with lots of support, because you don't want to get injured. It's the blood capillarization in your legs. Your heart's getting bigger, your body's working, you're just physically fitter as a person. So I would highly recommend trying to increase mileage by 10% per week until you get about 3 weeks in, and then maybe do a cutback week, try and go again. I'm actually an 800 metre runner, but I've been trying to work on my strength because it's my weakness, and I've managed to get up to 100 mile a week. It has been easy for me because I've been on paternity. I had 2 weeks off work, so I was a full-time athlete essentially. It's so much easier to get out the door twice a day. I was doing 7-mile run in the morning, 7-mile run at night, just nice and easy. On days where I wasn't doing a session, that massively makes it a lot easier. I wouldn't like to try and do 100 mile a week on just singles, because that works out as about 14.2 every single day. The sound of doing 7-mile runs 14 times a week is a lot easier. I would say increase your total volume 10% per week for 3 weeks. That'll give you a huge jump of 30%, and then just go back to where you were at the start and see how you feel. You'll find mentally it's a lot easier to go back to where you were. Now I've done 100 mile a week. 70 mile a week seems easy. I can do 70 mile a week quite comfortable now, off a few double days and single days as well, because on my sessions I quite often get 3-mile warm up in, 3-mile cool down, and the session will probably cover about 6 mile. So you're looking at a good 12 mile just for one session. What I would say is try and double more, double days, get out in the morning, set that alarm, try not to hit snooze button like I normally do.
As you can see, from December 12th to December 18th, 100.1, and it took me 12 hours. And then the week after that, this was the 19th of December till the 25th. It's quite hard running over the Christmas period when all your friends are wanting to go for drinks and stuff, but 13 mile on Christmas Day morning, that was quite a hard one, but I made room for my dessert. So as you can see, on Monday morning, I did a warm-up, 2 mile, and then I actually tried to do a session, but it was so icy, it got aborted. So I just ran home, and then I done a long run that night as well. The next day, I did a session with my friend Dan Dixon. He's actually a professional triathlete. Running with him, you know you're going to get a good workout. We covered a half marathon, and the session itself was a pyramid session. So the whole point in this session was to start off 5k, 10k pace, and for the 5-minute reps, try and hold half marathon pace. There's a slight little hill on this loop. So as you can see, started off, you know, VO2 max, 5k sort of pace, down to 10k. Then for the longer reps, I'm looking at sort of just outside half marathon pace, and then back up 4-minute rep, 3-minute rep, 2-minute rep, and then nearly back to 5k pace for the 1-minute rep. The next morning we did a 5 mile in the morning, and then a long run, catching up with my friend Adam on the night time. So as you can see, I kind of front loaded the week. It makes it a lot easier if you can try and get a few more miles in on the Monday. So then this is on the 15th. I done another session with Dan. It was quite a hard one. It was 8 rounds of 45 seconds, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, off 45 seconds. But we had 3 minutes after each set. This was quite a fast workout. Pace distribution, I covered 5 minutes 20 at zone 6. Quite a fast pace. So if I go on laps, there's hundreds of laps, so you might need to go on the Strava to have a little look at these, but just to show you, I mean, we're averaging 422, 415, 402. Dan's just recently ran a 10k at Ribble Valley, and he ran 29:59. Believe it or not, he was flying. And then later on that night, I did a 4-mile run. This is where double days come in so handy. If you do a 7 mile in the morning and then you do a 7 mile at night, it makes it so much easier. This is my Saturday session. As you can see, we did a road session. It was 2k, 2 by a k, 2 times 500 metres. Getting ready for Armagh 5k. The whole point in this workout was to run goal 5k pace, so 450. And I pretty much did it bang on. As you can see, 451, 449, 2 minutes jog, 449, 2 minutes jog, 450, and then picked it up a little bit on the 500s and went 440, 436, and then obviously the 30-second sprints are going to be faster. They were all 440s, 430. That was a really good session, getting in a lot of volume at VO2 max. Cool down. Later on that night I done a 3.2 mile run, and then it left me with 13.6 slow long run on the Sunday. This was 100.8, so 5 mile in the morning, really slow. A session at Harriers with Andy and Jim Alder. That was 5 by 4 minutes, 2 by 2 minutes. Started a little bit slow and progressed down to near 5k pace. 24 minutes of volume around 5k to half marathon pace. Tuesday I done a double day. I done 5.17 in the morning, and then a recovery run 7.3. Next day 7 mile in the morning slow, and then again 7 mile at night. A few strides at the end as well on the 22nd. So this was my session. I did a treadmill half of a half marathon tempo, and that was at 5:22 pace. I find my tempo is quite easy to use the treadmill because I can just set the pace. It's quite easy to just stay on, and you can drink water and take on hydration, electrolytes, whatever you need. Cool down. 23rd, 7 mile, again 7 mile. These are so important when doing 100 mile weeks. 14.2 in one day. That's how much you need for a 100 mile week. 24th, warm up in the morning. Another treadmill session. This was quite a meaty treadmill session. 4 mile, 3 mile, 2 mile, 1 mile, 1k. So you're covering 10.6 mile. Pace has become increasingly faster. Cool down. And then that left again with just a Sunday, nice slow run. This made space for my Christmas dinner. I'd already had a Christmas dinner at my mum's on Christmas Eve, so this was making room for my second Christmas dinner. 2 weeks back to back at 100 miles, and I mean, I've only got a 5k PB of 15:12. If I can handle it, I feel like a lot of people probably could handle it. They're just scared to get injured or overtrain. As long as you're not doing a 100 mile week on week, it's actually not too bad. I mean, I did this because my peak races are coming up in February, so I wanted to get a big 2 weeks in, drop the mileage back, and then do 2 more big weeks, and then start reducing the mileage before my races coming up.
Today is Thursday, the 26th of January, and I've got 2 weeks to Armagh. I've kind of done these 100 mile weeks on purpose just to get that large increased volume, and so now I can reduce my mileage down to 90 for a few weeks, 70, and hover around the 70 mark before Armagh, and try and keep a lot of volume. I try and keep the intensity high but reduce the volume, just because I don't want to get slower, but I also want to be fresh for the race. So yeah, not long. I've just booked my flights for Newcastle to Belfast, and then we'll get the coach from Belfast to Armagh, stopping over 2 nights, have a few beers after the race. So I'm just looking forward to it. It's a great weekend. I did it in 2020. I shared a room with Ross Floyd and Cameron Boyack, 2 really good runners. Yeah, it was such a good experience.